It's Premier League Matchday 18 picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use the code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Game Time tickets make the perfect holiday gift. Sign up at gametime.co. Use the promo code CFBX for $20 off. Gametime.co, promo code CFBX. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Wednesday, December the 20th, and we have a full slate of Premier League action taking place between Thursday, the 21st, tomorrow, and Christmas Eve, Sunday, the 24th. So we got 4 days. 9 games to take on. Manchester City not playing because they're off in Saudi Arabia playing the Club World Cup. Joining me to discuss all of this and plenty more is Mr. Barry Penaluna. Hello, Baz. How are you?
Evening, Malcolm. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Enjoying a quiet night. The other half's out for a few beverages.
Nice.
So I sat and watched the football for a little while. And then it got to 4-1. I turned it over and put the darts on for a bit because I got a bit bored.
I've just put the darts on. I'm sitting watching it now. Peter Wright's having a go in with his Grinch uniform on.
Yeah.
The football was shite. There's lots of. We'll talk about the football in a bit. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'll tell you what, though, the first order of business, Barry, because Riley has just turned up in the comments section, Baz. You can inform us of our Spotify Wrapped merch competition in which Riley was involved. What's the crack?
Yeah, so we had a merch competition. Anyone that sent us a Spotify wrap through picked our best 2, which was Riley and Lenny. We put them head to head last week. We gave them 3 picks each. Riley picked Newcastle moneyline against Fulham, Everton moneyline against whoever Everton were playing.
Burnley.
And I can't remember his other one. The other one was a loser. So he had 2 winners. Lenny had no winners. He did have a void bet on the Bournemouth game, but that wouldn't have helped him anyway. So Riley was declared our winner and has been invited to make a choice from the merch store, and we will get that sent out to him. So well done, Riley, for being a good fan and beating Lenny in a little face-off last weekend. Well played.
Yeah, well done, Riley. I reckon the refs are terrorists T-shirt, Riley, is the thing you need. That's got to be in the price range. Yeah, so we'll get to our picks. It's just another. So Christmas is proper busy football-wise. Like I say, a full programme or 9/10 of a programme without that Manchester City game between now and Christmas Eve. There's a little pattern, Baz, to how I handicap these games, especially when I'm coming off a bad weekend. I definitely do it with a bit of fear. So I had a couple of winning weeks. I had a 15 unit. I had a 13 unit. So last week I was throwing out 12-1 shots, 6-1 shots like confetti. This week, because I've done my conkers, I'm running scared, Baz. So really trying to find sort of little building blocks. I've got a 3-4 shot tonight, Baz picked. So I thought this was quite hard, but also I think there was a little bit of fear in play. I need to. Is there any advice you can give me on
that? No, just stop being a fanny and get on with it.
Stop being a fanny. That's always excellent advice, Barry. Brett. But I tell you what, I couldn't decide if I was happy or furious with Brett last night because Brett's our newly appointed resident Fulham fan. And he messaged me when Fulham won their penalty shootout how delighted he was. However, that was about 10 seconds before our penalty shootout started. And I think he needs to have a bit more decorum, Barry. because I said, I'm delighted for you. Just let me get this one out of the way. And then 15 minutes later, I was in a sulk, so I didn't message him back after that. But yeah, the draw is actually live. Have you got the darts on? Have you got the telly on, the footy?
I'm in the kitchen now, Malcolm, but I have got Twitter open,
on.
so I'll get the draw.
Yeah, because the semi-final draw is going to be made in a little while. Just picks for these quarter-final games. We made 4, Barry. We both got Middlesbrough right. Was fairly straightforward. We both then were very unfortunate with a pick each, which was I had Fulham. So I was kind of on the right side because Fulham won. I mean, I could maybe claim that. But I did take Fulham on the money line at a nice price. They got to the 82nd minute before they're going through. So I was on the right lines. You took Newcastle, which was obviously chinned in the 92nd minute. However, would have been incredibly fortunate, I think, to have won. But you take them. And then tonight, we both wanted a little bit of West Ham at Liverpool. And fucking hell, West Ham were remarkably bad. I thought Newcastle were bad last night until I watched West Ham tonight. Like, there's a rule in horse racing, which I cover a bit on the network. They call it the non-triers rule. And you can get in big trouble if you're found not to have tried. West Ham didn't try tonight. They were absolutely subject to the non-triers rule. If they were in an Irish point-to-point race, they'd be hauled up before the stewards. Like, they did not lift a leg up tonight, Barry.
That was shocking. I mean, I looked at the Liverpool lineup and thought, this is all right. They left Salah out. They left Alisson out, which I said was important if West Ham want to have a chance. And then I looked at West Ham. They'd left out Paquetá, Ward-Prowse, a couple of others. So it was a bit of a mixed bag. And then once the game started, it was just only one team was ever going to win it. Good goal from Bowen is the only positive to take for West Ham. But yeah, fairly comprehensive. 90 minutes for Darwin Núñez, Malcolm. How many goals did he get in a 5-1 win?
He was great, though, wasn't he? He played really well. He was instrumental. But
the striker, he's there to score goals. He doesn't score goals, and he picked up a stupid yellow card again in the 90th minute. Why is he so stupid? See that. Stupid.
Well, I can't help him being stupid. That's not my fault. He's still very, very good, though. People used to complain about Miguel Almiron doesn't score goals. It doesn't matter, man. It's fine.
People are still complaining.
Stitched me up tonight. When Salah came on, 67th minute, I think. I had a little tenner on him at 100 to 30 to score at any time. Nice. And then he missed that absolute sitter, didn't he, from 4 yards out. And I was sitting next to Bob. I went, have a look at that, Bob. He was like, oh, that's unlucky, ha ha. In the meantime, the IT department then came in from her netball night out. She's taking her shoes off and that's here. Salah scores. And he tells, oh, man, Dad's just won 43 quid. I was like, well, you shut up, man. I mean, what sort of crack's that? Terrible behaviour from him. So I said, at the time he was showing me a pair of football boots that were 90 quid on the internet. I was like, that's one football boot that you could have had there that you're now not getting because you grasped me up to admin. So, so our picks were kind of a bit shite, I'll be honest, but not a million miles away. 8 minutes away from Fulham, 90 seconds away from landing Newcastle.
4-1 as well, Newcastle. Frustrating that one. I did take Newcastle on the... I did say, to be fair, I put Newcastle as a pick, but I said if anyone wanted to play it safe, take Newcastle double chance, even money. So I did take Newcastle even money last night, double chance, and still cashed that.
Oh, you did?
So, yeah, unlucky. You say it wasn't.
You would have been asking me today what I felt about it, but honestly, there was two things. I'm still got PTSD from the cup final last year. I didn't want to go, you know this. I didn't want to be there. I hated it. And I felt the same already this time around. Plus, Liverpool was still in it, and I just knew what was going to happen. So if we had a cup competition with Liverpool, and I know this is pathetic, I don't want to be in. I'm all right. Get me out. Plus, I also thought Newcastle were absolutely terrible. The one positive thing I'll say about them is that they defended quite well. So Lascelles...
That's part of the game, though, Malcolm.
Yeah, it is.
People see this. They said it in the PSG game. We got that draw in the PSG game where we should have won. And you see pundits saying, well, Newcastle didn't deserve the win because it was all PSG. That doesn't matter. Part of the game is defending. Part of it's attacking. If the other team can't score and you can defend, then you deserve to win a game in that situation. So that's part of it. They weren't completely shite because they defended very well.
That's what I'm saying. But
Chelsea were shite as well. Chelsea were also...
absolutely.
And, you know, it shows because both both teams got a goal that was absolutely gifted to them at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And neither team created anything much more than that. I hold my hands up. Newcastle weren't brilliant. But when people say, well, it was all Chelsea, so they deserved it, defending is a part of the game.
That's not true at all. That was not my point. I just didn't think we played very well. We gave the ball away every time we got it. And that's one of the ways to defend in the league. Sorry?
Still didn't get Chelsea, though. They are just so wasteful, aren't they? Like, I mean, even the goal, Harry Redknapp was on telly tonight, and they were talking about him. He says the goal's obviously unlucky because it's a bad mistake from Trippier, but he says it's also very lucky for Chelsea that Mudryk's completely in the wrong position because he's not chasing the ball down or trying to make a play. He says he stood where he shouldn't be stood, and then just by good fortune, the ball ends up at his feet. Redknapp was saying that he's got lucky because he's totally out of position, not making any attempt to try and influence anything, and it just lands at him. But I have no complaints about the result. I knew as soon as we got the penalties, it would go tits up. But I can't have any complaints. It is what it is, isn't it? But a couple of things that could have changed it, Malcolm. Caicedo should have been sent off after 2 minutes. Absolutely. Yep. Colwill could have been sent off. So both Gordon and Kraft went off injured from their tackles. Mudryk should have been sent off. You can't grab anyone round the neck. We've seen Casemiro get sent off for it last year. We've seen, Rodri get sent off for it this year. That should have been a red card. I'm not moaning about it. They should have done. The ref bottled that first one, certainly. No, because what I'm going to say, in contrast to that, there was part of it last night, despite the fact all of that went against Newcastle. I quite enjoyed the fact there was no VAR last night because I watched that game, and when Sterling takes a dive or Conor Gallagher takes a dive, it's not a penalty. The referee waves it off, and you can just get on with watching the game without thinking that might come back in a couple of minutes and they'll get the microscopes out and all this. So it was quite refreshing watching VAR. He's another one that should have been sent off. Conor Gallagher, he should have been booked for his dive, and then he'd got his second yellow for that stupid tackle. He booked Sterling for the same dive in the first half, and then didn't book Conor Gallagher. Ridiculous. But I did quite enjoy.
Gallagher seems particularly unpleasant individual, from what I can gather. Just his general mannerisms and his face. He's another one you would get bored.
We'll come back to that later because he features in one of my bets later on.
Fair enough.
Anyway, a few more people in the chat. Ty Dobbs. I think Dobbs is a Malcolm Dobbsy.
What?
Whoa. We've got Dobbsy jumps in TikTok every now and then. He's a Mackham. He's been quite a reasonable Mackham, to be fair. He's not happy with Beale. He doesn't like to talk about Michael Beale. But cheers for joining the YouTube live tonight.
We'll let him in. All right. We'll allow Dobbsy in then, unless Sunderland win that FA Cup game, in which you get the 6 month ban, Dobbsy. If Sunderland win that one, we'll let you back in after 6 months. Just bits of news and notes, Baz. I haven't got an awful lot. Did you watch Sports Personality of the Year?
No. Nobody cares about that anymore, do they, Malcolm?
No, you're right. My only point was that Mary Earp's dress made me randy. What do you think of that?
It was a bit risque, like, wasn't it?
Oh, made me horny, that. That's all I've got on that. I don't know why I felt the urge to share that with everyone. And remember I said a couple of weeks ago that we were talking about every Premier League team appears to have been issued with a Twitter bird who gets to jump around in their underpants and go mad. Yeah. The Liverpool one has had an absolute shocker this week. I don't know if you've seen. Oh man,
her minute silence.
Yeah, the minute silence. Fucking hell, that could not have gone any worse for her. So the downfall of, I think they're being called Twitter slags, is the which I think is a bit disparaging, Baz. So I'm not going to use that term. That's just the term that people are throwing out them. The downfall of her really enjoyed. And then actual sensible news and notes, Baz. First manager sacked. 19th of December. Steve Cooper got the 9-10 jack yesterday. Obviously, you are in Nottingham, so what's been the general feeling around that?
I think the majority, or quite a few Notts Forest fans, are probably okay with it. And
you can't say Notts Forest, by the way. You
no,
can
well, I'm going to wind them up in many ways here anyway. But I think a lot of them are perfectly okay with it and probably realise his time was up. But publicly, they can't say that because it's Steve Cooper. He's the golden boy. So they'll all say, "Oh, I'm so sad. It's like losing a member of my family." There was a bloke like crying on the news last night, the local news. There was someone outside the ground actually like tearing up, like he'd lost his dad or something. Very embarrassing. So yeah, everyone, Forest fans, there's no one saying yeah, brilliant. But I think realistically, do you want to stay in the Premier League because he was getting them dragged down into it? 1 win in 13. So yeah, there's a lot of sentiment amongst Forest fans. They're not happy to see him go. I think realistically, they probably had to let him go sooner or later.
Well, this happened last year, didn't it?
But Will,
he was right in the shit, and they were going to sack him. Then all of
give
a
him a new
sudden, they pulled
contract?
this remarkable recovery, and it's kind of the cycle's repeated itself. He's been replaced by Nuno Espirito Santos, the old Wolves manager. He did a good job at Wolves. Dylan D-Rock from the baseball show was asking me about him because Dylan's adopted Nottingham Forest. And my take on it was that he did a good job at Wolves. He then took a step up to Tottenham and got sacked pretty quick. And apart from that, I don't really know. Now, I've got a bit of a West Midlands history, so I'm in a WhatsApp group with all that Worcester lot. And there's a lot of Wolves fans, there's a lot of Forest fans, and there's a lot of West Brom fans who obviously got an opinion because he was a Wolves manager. So I think the general opinion yesterday was the same as you about the Forest fans. Slightly disappointed, although understood. And then the Wolves fans really liked Nuno, but then so did the West Brom fans. They liked him because they thought he was shit. So it's kind of just nothing. I have no strong feelings either way. But Wolves did well under Nuno. I thought they were always quite watchable for one thing, and then capable of springing a bit of an upset. So we'll have to see how that pans out. But
yep, nothing more from me on the subject.
A pensive note. Courtney's joined us. Hey, Courtney, how are you? I haven't seen Courtney in here for a little while. It might be Patrick actually, but it might be Courtney. I think it might be Courtney. It's got the typing. It's got a feminine edge to it, Baz, that typing. So I think that's Courtney this time around. Okay, we'll get stuck into these this Premier League slate, which I did find very hard on the grounds of a bad week for me last weekend. So first up, where are we going? Underdog Fantasy. Great way to play alongside favourite fantasy players all season long. NFL, NBA, NHL, college, basketball and football. Simply pick higher or lower and your favourite players' fantasy stats and cash in. Watch along, make your picks, maybe make a little cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code SGPN. Underdog, double your first deposit up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN. First game of the weekend, if you can call it the weekend, it's Thursday night. 8 o'clock kickoff, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Crystal Palace take on Brighton and Hove Albion. Crystal Palace are 23 to 10, plus 230. The draw is 23 to 10, plus 230. Brighton are 15 to 13 plus 115. So yeah, this one is really tricky to start with. This is a derby, if people aren't aware, if any of our American listeners aren't aware, and a bit of a weird one. Brighton is right down on the south coast of England, and Crystal Palace is sort of South London, Croydon. So they're quite a long way apart, but they've always had this rivalry. Like, I'm not entirely sure if it's geographical or if there's a bit more to it than that. Palace are coming off that weird 2-2 draw at Manchester City, where they weren't in the game at all until they were. And before that, they played quite well against Liverpool at home. They were unfortunate with a red card. They were leading that game. So it's a bit of a turnaround in form because they were really, really struggling before that. The home form isn't great, Baz. They have only won one of their 8 league games. So I can't take them to win at that price, 23 to 10, plus 230. Brighton have lost their last 2 away games at Arsenal, at Chelsea. And they've only won 3 of 8 on the road either. So I'm not particularly inclined to take Brighton at that price. So neither side blows my skirt up at all. last week was that first both teams to score. No, that's it. Both teams have scored in all of Brighton's games until they lost 2-0. So, like I say, I said at the top of the show, Baz, that I've got 1 3-4 shot, which I'm not very proud of, but I need to start the week with a winner. So I'm going to go back to it. I don't know why this wouldn't land on both teams to score. The price is 3-4, minus 133, Barry.
3-4, both teams to score.
3-4, and it rhymes, yeah. So there you go.
Both to score. Yeah, I've got a couple of shorter price ones today.
Shorter than that, or shorter than?
No, around that 7 to 10,
Okay.
3-4, I think.
Allowed this week.
For me, I mean, as you say, Palace, a good result last week and a good performance against Liverpool, but it is 6 games without a win now, and just 1 win in the last 10 for Palace. Both teams to score is good. 5 of the last 6 games for Palace have seen both teams to score, and they've got just 1 clean sheet in 9 games, which is always going to give you a chance. And goals were always on the agenda for Brighton games until last week, as you said. Arsenal became the first team to shut Brighton down this season. And they've actually gone under 2.5 goals in 3 consecutive games now, which is totally against the grain with Brighton. I mean, the Brighton's form best described as average, really. Lost to Chelsea, Arsenal, drew to Burnley and Sheff United, 2 of the bottom teams. But they have beaten Brentford and Forest recently. And I think that last category of games would be where you'd stick Palace in amongst the Brentford and the Forest type of teams. What has been impressive is the Europa League form. Topped a really difficult group. Ajax, AEK Athens and Marseille was a difficult group for Brighton. Started badly, lost the first game, drew the second, and then won the next 4. Beat Ajax twice, and then a really, really good result against Marseille on the last day to top the group. So there is good form there outside of the Premier League. Premier League definitely more inconsistent. They are a good side, though, and that Europa League form sort of points to that. And I haven't faded them a lot this season due to them being far too short a price. I think I quite like the price here on Brighton. They've gone into plus money, 5-4, against a Palace team that doesn't win very often. I'll take a chance on Brighton. Brighton to beat Palace on the money line at 5-4, Malcolm.
As we speak, Baz, Peter Wright is 2 sets and 2 legs down here. He's going out, the 4th seed of the darts.
He was giving it the big one beforehand as well about how this match would be a good warm-up for Barney in the next round and all this stuff.
Well, he can have Christmas in the house because he's about to get toasted 3-0. So we move on to Saturday, lunchtime, kick-off, 12:30. 7:30 Eastern time. West Ham United take on Courtney's Manchester United. West Ham, huge line movement. So 11-8 plus 137 yesterday. I think the odds makers have been watching West Ham tonight because they are now 13-5 plus 160. So a big old drift on West Ham United. The draw is what's that? 26-10. No, West Ham at 8-5 plus 160. The draw is 26-10, and Manchester United are 13-8 plus 162. Now I had this all laid out, Baz. In fact, I tell you what, you lead us off here, because hopefully you might be able to help me out a little bit. It's your turn.
I was going to say it was my turn anyway, but you have gone out of sync because you've missed Aston Villa, Sheff United out.
Oh no! Do you know what? I got my notes all fucking wrong, didn't I? I started handicapping these on the top of Saturday's list. So all the Saturday's games are at the front. Then Thursdays is on the next page. But Fridays is kind of in the middle, halfway up.
This is the analog. This is analog, Malcolm. It doesn't work. You need to move with the times and get digital. Move from analog to digital.
Do you want to go back to Friday night, or do you want to do West Ham?
You've read the prices out. We'll go straight to West Ham, and then we'll fling back into Friday, and we'll do Aston Villa. I held off looking at this one as I wanted to watch West Ham tonight. But they did make quite a few changes, so I wasn't sure how much I was going to learn about it. What I learned about it was they had no interest in qualifying for the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. They have won 4 of the last 6 in the league. Sole defeat in those 6 was the 5-0 battering at Fulham. I really don't know what to make of that one. That was bizarre. They did look good against Wolves last week, but I said this, it's one extreme to the other with West Ham at the minute. And it happened again tonight, where they went right back to being absolute garbage. So West Ham are just hard to work out at the minute. Man United got a massive point, didn't they, against Liverpool? They'll take that. But it's just papers over the cracks a little bit. Still just 1 win in 6 in all competitions. And they've failed to score in the last 3 games now. Bayern, Liverpool and Bournemouth. Not a goal in amongst those 3 games. They've got the ability to turn up in individual games like they did against Everton. And they could do here against West Ham. But you just can't bank on it. Like you just, again, another team, you just don't know what you're going to get. That said, I think the bookies have now got the prices right on Man United. A few weeks ago, not long at all, we were looking at it and saying, not having Man United at odds on, not having Man United at 4-7. In a game like this, a few weeks ago, Man United would have been 9-10 or something odds on. They're now 17-10 outsiders, which seems like a fairer price for Man United away to West Ham. Don't think I'm going to start coming out with a Man United pick here, though, Malcolm. Still not a price that tempts me. I'm going to go for a low scoring affair here. As I said, Man United haven't scored in 3. Played out a 0-0 just last week. 4 of the last 7 Man United games have gone under 2.5 goals. And I can just see this being a bit of a dull one, really. One team's going to nick this by the odd goal. And 4 of the last 5 head-to-head games between these 2 teams have finished 1-0 as well. That leans into it. Plus money, under 2.5 goals is 11-10. So the pick for me, West Ham v Man United, is under 1.5 goals, under 2.5 goals at 11-10.
So I made my pick here and then completely changed it about 35 minutes ago, but I'm changing it back to my original one. I've got to stick to my guns. So this initially for me was as easy as tipping up Manchester United last week, just because I thought the prices were wrong. See, West Ham were in good form. They've won 4 out of 6. But just throwing in the odd shock, I can't get my head around what happened tonight, Baz. I don't know what that was for. It's not like they threw the game, because they've played in that conference competition and they're trying in the cup competitions. But honestly, they just didn't lift a leg at all tonight. They've got the kind of players who can cause Manchester United problems. Good attacking players. So Paquetá, who came off the bench tonight. Kudus, who was dog shit tonight. Bowen, who didn't do anything, did score a goal. Ward-Prowse was on the bench. So I'm kind of all right to put a line through this West Ham game tonight. The keeper, Areola, reserve keeper, played tonight, was poor with his feet. Every time he kicked it, it went out for a throw-in. Mavropanos at the back, the kid Johnson at left back. They're going to make a lot of changes. So I'm happy to draw a line through this West Ham performance. Yes, Man United kept a clean sheet last week, but they've got to try and play a little bit here. They can't keep surviving on scraps. It won't be stood for. The way they came up to Newcastle and didn't try, the way they went down to Liverpool and didn't try. They're going to have to, if West Ham were playing at home here to Palace or Fulham or Brentford, you'd absolutely smash them at this price, 8-5 plus 160. It's the same thing, Baz. That's the level Man United are at the minute, like it or not. So I'm going to stick with my guns. West Ham United 8-5 plus 160. Okay, let's go. I think we'll go back to Friday night, shall we? But Friday is an 8 o'clock kickoff, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Aston Villa take on Sheffield United. Villa 1-5 minus 500. The draw is 6-1. Sheffield United are 12-1. Aston Villa are up to 3rd. They had a comeback win at Brentford last week. Were behind, took advantage of a red card, won it late. And it's the home record that really their success has been built on. 8 out of 8 this season, and now 14 out of 14 at home, stretching back to last year in the Premier League. I threw out Sheffield United last week at 12-1 at Chelsea. They did okay in spells, eventually lost 2-0. But they've got 1 draw and 7 defeats in their 8 away games. This is a really bad spot for Sheffield United, going to an Aston Villa team who are really smelling themselves. Villa scoring 3.13 home goals per game on average. Villa on the handicap was my first port of call. It's too short a price for me. So I'll have to go with, I prefer Villa team total. Over 2.5 goals, Baz, is 5-6, minus 120. It's a bit skinny, but I can see Villa running up a little bit of a score here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree, but I've went somewhere different because I think Villa have got a bit short this week. I thought they were a great price last week away to Brentford. Not so much this week at 1-5. Villa should win the game, no doubt about it. We know they've been ruthless at home. I think they will win, but at 1-5, I just struggle to find anything to do at that price. I looked at scoring 3 or more, or win by 3 or more, which you'd need to do to get above plus money. Win to nil, no, just nothing that inspired me. So I started to look at Sheff United, and it's difficult really because you've almost got to look at them separately in the last few games because they've now got Chris Wilder. We've seen them beat Brentford. They put up a decent effort against Liverpool. And I can't remember how the other one was now. I can't remember. Anyway, they've looked a bit better. They've looked a bit tighter, a bit more organised. So looking at their form over a longer period of time doesn't really help. They're not getting beat 5-0 every week now like they were under Heckenbottom, which is a bonus. I'm going to both teams to score, Mal. I think Villa will win, and I think you'll cash your bet on them to score over 2.5. But I fancy Sheffield to get on the score sheet. Now, the form again doesn't really support this. They've failed to score in 3 of the last 4. But they have scored in half of their away games this season, including games away from home at Brighton and Spurs. Teams who I think will be in and around Villa come the end of the season. Villa fans won't like that because they're still in a title race at the moment. But I think they're good comparisons. And more so, I think the Villa side of the form supports this. Villa have had just... they had clean sheets very recently against Arsenal and Man City. Won both of those 1-0. But those are the only 2 clean sheets in the last 14 games. So teams are going to Villa Park and able to get goals. Teams like Fulham, Luton, Brighton, West Ham, Palace have all gone to Villa Park and got a goal. So there's enough in the Villa form to suggest clean sheets aren't the norm for Villa. I agree with you. I think Villa will score 3, but I'm taking both teams to score at plus money, 21-20. Sheff United, Villa, both teams to score. They'll win 3-1, 4-1, something like that, and we'll both cash this one.
The Game Time helping you buy tickets for your favourite events without any of the stress. Game Time is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for sport, music, comedy, any theatre near you. Flash deals, last minute tickets. It's easy to find and buy the tickets for anything you want to go and see. The Game Time guarantee is top class. They credit you 110% of the difference if you find tickets in the same section and row for less. So you can buy those tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you are set. Outstanding gift for the holidays as well. If you need a last minute Christmas gift for your granny, head to Game Time. Get the Game Time app, create an account, then use the code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem the code CFBX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed, and Hall of Fame bets, helping everyone win bigger by betting smarter on the NFL this season. The sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines research, NFL, NBA, and soccer bets with historical stats and data. Enter your parlay into Hall of Fame bets revolutionary parlay optimizer. You get hit rates broken down by leg, expected probabilities, sort players by hit rate, all that sort of good stuff. So stop betting in the dark. Join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame bets. 3 o'clock kickoffs on Saturday. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. And the first one is Fulham against Burnley. Fulham are 7-10, minus 142. The draw is 11-4, plus 375. And Burnley are 4-1 outsiders, Baz.
Yeah, I mean, my starting point is I'll continue to fade Burnley until the day arrives where Burnley show something to get me interested in them, but that day hasn't arrived yet. Away from home, there's just 1 point in the last 6 games, and overall just 4 points in the last 10 games for Burnley in the league. Both said last week we weren't too concerned about Fulham's defeat to Newcastle. Red card really changed that game. They went on and got a great result last night, getting through the AFL Cup. That'll be a boost to the morale. We know they've been full of goals lately. And over 2.5 goals is hit in 6 in a row in terms of league games for Fulham. I think Fulham are okay as a pick here, 7 to 10. I think I said to you I was picking a couple of short ones. This was one where I've gone shorter, but I haven't gone with Fulham. I don't mind 7 to 10 at all for Fulham, but I'm going to go for the Fulham team total. It's also a little bit short. I'm going to start at 8 to 11 for over 1.5 Fulham goals as my main pick. It's a little tight, as I say. It's about as low as we go as a pick on this show. But I'm also going to...
Your ladder out, Baz.
Just a little ladder, just a little step up. I'm going to take Fulham to score 3 or more at 5 to 2, plus 250. At home, Fulham have scored 3 or more in 4 of the last 5 games. And they're now coming up against Burnley, who don't do clean sheets. They've got the second worst defensive record in the league. I think Fulham goals is a good way to go. Start off with Fulham team total over 1.5 at 8 to 11 and over 2.5 at 5 to 2, Malcolm.
Fulham were in great form before getting turned over at Newcastle last week, but happy to erase that. They've won 5 of 8 at home. The patterns do point to goals, over 2.5 goals, 6 in a row. They will be missing Jimenez, which might be a little bit of a problem. But the opposition are just really struggling for any kind of form. They're struggling for goals particularly. They've only scored once in the last 3 games, Burnley. So I was kind of leaning towards the under 2.5, thinking that Fulham might just knock them over 1 or 2-0. But I actually thought that would be a bigger price. I'm going to trust Fulham's pre-Newcastle form, and Burnley are absolutely woeful. I'm going to take Fulham on the handicap. I think Fulham can beat them by 2 goals here. So I'm just getting a bit of a safety net. 2-0, I think, is your most likely score. But you've got a potential 3-0 or a 3-1, which would usurp the under 2.5. So Fulham on the handicap. Nice price pass, 7 to 4, plus 175. Offsets a couple of my shorties from earlier on. So I will take Fulham to cover the spread. 3 o'clock, Luton Town take on Newcastle United. Luton Town they were 130 plus 333. They are now, what price is that? 15 to 4 plus 375. Drifted a little bit. The draw is 7 to 2 plus 350. And Newcastle United are 3 to 5 minus 166. Luton have been competitive. We have picked them to do bits and bobs in various spots, but they've only won 2 games out of 16. So even though they have been competitive, they're not winning enough for me to want to take them at that price, at plus 375. So lots of goals in the last 4 games. Both teams have scored in 7 of the last 8. The over 2.5's hit in 6 of the last 8. Newcastle got a comfortable win over Fulham, which was very much needed. And then again last night, a late heartbreak, which has got to take an emotional turmoil. But then also, we've lost 3 of our most influential players to injury inside 54 minutes again. So I've got no idea who can turn up tomorrow. We said last week that handicapping Newcastle at home and handicapping Newcastle away, they're just 2 different teams. You have to treat the 2 things completely separately. We've only won 1 out of 8 away from home. So equally, as unappealing as the Luton price is, Newcastle to win aren't appealing even a little bit. Away from home, Newcastle have scored 1.75 goals per game and conceded 2.13. Add those stats in of Luton, and I've picked this on Luton about 5 weeks running, but as both teams to score is 4 to 5 minus 125. What are you laughing at?
So predictable, Malcolm. I knew exactly where you were going in this game.
It keeps fucking winning, Baz. What do you want us to do? Just not... See, it's all right, Mr. 365. You keep your money. I don't want it.
I didn't say I wanted you to do anything. I didn't say I wanted you to do anything different.
Shaking your head. I'll drive down there and I'll push you off your chair if you want.
I'm just saying, we could have skipped this game and everybody would have known your pick anyway.
Oh, shut up. Sick of you.
Anyway, Malcolm,
come on.
I'll skip my handicap of the game, Malcolm. I've gone for Luton versus Newcastle, both teams to score at 45.
Oh, Barry Penaluna, you're an absolute divvy. Next up is a 3 o'clock kick-off between Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth. Forest haven't really moved much in price with the old new manager. They are 7 to 4 plus 175. The draw is 13 to 5 plus 260. Bournemouth have drifted a little bit. They were 12-5 plus 240. They're now out to just a bit bigger than 6-4. They are out to 155, I think, on the back of that manager news. Baz, Forest against Bournemouth.
Yeah, I didn't want to overthink this too much with the new manager angle. Because often we do that and think might get a new manager bounce. I'm not sure whether it'll turn out to be a positive at all. Certainly not initially. I think it may actually have a bit of a negative effect on the atmosphere or anything. Don't get me wrong. I think they'll get behind Nuno. I don't think there's any problem with that. But there are a lot who are disappointed with Cooper leaving. And I can possibly see it being a bit flat in terms of atmosphere. Honestly, man, you watched the funeral, the TV yesterday, it was as if it was his funeral. People were talking like the bloke was dead. So I think it might have a bit of a negative atmosphere, to be honest. And one thing Cooper had was the support of the fans. He built it up over a number of years, and undoubtedly they cut him a lot more slack than anyone else would have had at that club. And if things continue to go badly for Forest, I think they'll turn on Nuno far quicker than they did under Cooper. So if they go a goal down or 2-0 down, I think that crowd will start getting agitated far quicker in games now than they did whilst Cooper was there. Because there was a lot of goodwill for Cooper. That's gone. That needs to be earned by the new manager. So new manager might make an impact, but I just can't look past Bournemouth unbeaten in 6 and Forest no win in 6. Like the recent form, they're just chalk and cheese. So Bournemouth to win at 6-4 is a good price for me. But Bournemouth team total, I've shot myself in the foot a couple of times lately by fancying a team to win, going for the team total instead, and then they win 1-0. But I'm going to do that again. Bournemouth team total over 1.5 goals on the team total market is 5-4. They've scored 2 or more in 6 of their last 7 games, Bournemouth. And the only time they didn't in that 7-game stretch was against Man City. And 4 of the last 6 games for Forest have seen them concede 2 or more. So there's plenty of form for it. I'll take Bournemouth to score 2 or more against Forest at 5-4.
Yeah, I'll keep this fairly brief, Baz, because you read out my crucial note on this game. I've taken Forest far too often, really. They've been in awful form, and I've kind of been on their side too much, in fact. So I was kind of happy to get away from them anyway. But apart from all the bits and bobs you just read out, my key bit of info for this was, Baz, you have to go with the form lines, regardless of the manager, regardless of this, that, and the other. You have to go with the form lines of the two teams, which is what you spelled out. Was it no win in 6, 5 wins in 6 or something, whatever it was? Bournemouth, 4 or 5. Forest failed to score 3 of their last 4. They've lost 3 in a row at home. You have to go with the form lines, Barry. Nuno might get a tune out of them. Might take a little while. He might get a tune out of them at the weekend. Entirely possible. But I think you have to. If I sat and did anything with Forest here and Bournemouth won comfortably, you'd be absolutely kicking yourself, because it seems a little bit too obvious. So I'll take Bournemouth here at 6-4 plus 150. We are still 3 o'clock on Saturday. Is Tottenham Hotspur against Everton. Tottenham are 3-4 minus 133. The draw 16-5 plus 320. Everton are 3-1. Tottenham won 2 in a row. They ended their skid, beating Newcastle and Forest last week. Clean sheet at Forest last week, and they tonked Newcastle the week before that. That 2-0 at Forest last week was the first in 8 games where both teams didn't score, or over 2.5 didn't hit. So that's very much been the pattern for Tottenham. Everton are the form team, won 4 in a row with 4 clean sheets. Pretty impressive stuff. So you're coming up against a team who are full of goals, against a team who aren't conceding any goals. So that makes it really hard to handicap. And Everton have won 5 out of 8 away from home as well. Excellent form. So I've hard this one again, but I like both teams to score because it's been hit for Tottenham. And I think this is Tottenham are a bit of a different proposition at home than what Everton have been turning over lately. And the over 2.5 goals, because Everton have got a goal in them as well. So I'm going to combine the two of them, Baz. Both teams to score with over 2.5 goals is 4-5 minus 125.
Yeah, so As you say, I mean, Everton in great form. 4 wins, 4 clean sheets. Turn the season around, overcome the points deduction. Obviously got a bit of momentum now. But I think there is a little bit of a danger of getting carried away a bit with Everton. I listened to stuff on the radio yesterday on Talk Sport, and they had a whole section of a full hour on Sean Dyche and how good is he, and should he be at one of the top 6 clubs and all of this lot. And I was like, they've had a good month to 6 weeks. Just calm down a little bit. Let's see where they are at the end of the season. Stayed up by the skin of their teeth last year. Started absolutely terribly at the start of this season. And yeah, they've hit a good run now, but I just think we might be getting a little bit carried away.
Over again last night. It's home to Fulham. It's not a great...
And, you know, in the recent run of form they've had, they played Burnley, Forest, Palace, or 3 of the teams they've beat, fellow strugglers. The wins against Newcastle and Chelsea obviously carry a bit more weight. Listen, I'm taking nothing away from Everton. I'm, as you said, we've sort of softened on Everton a bit. I'm happy that they've sort of overcome the adversity of that 10-point deduction. I don't mind Everton doing okay. Spurs are back on track, you could say, after a 5-game winless streak. Back-to-back wins now. I don't think they were great against Forest, but they got the result. I just think these two are a close match, but Spurs at home just edges it for me. So it is a short price. It is one of the short price ones for me. I'm taking Spurs on the money line. I'm sort of thinking back to what we saw when we went there a few weeks ago. Spurs looked good. They attack well, and I think they will cause Everton more problems than anyone else has recently. So I don't mind your pick as well, to be fair. But yeah, the pick for me, Spurs Everton, is just Spurs on the money line at 3 to 4 mile.
Yeah, that's allowed this week. 3 to 4 shots are in play. So the game of the weekend takes place on Saturday tea time, 5:30, 12:30 Eastern time. It is the top 2 in the Premier League. Liverpool take on Arsenal. Liverpool are 11 to 8 plus 137. The draw is 13 to 5 plus 260. Arsenal are 9 to 5 plus 180. So Liverpool favourites, half a point or 0.4 of a point favourites. Good game, Baz. Tight game. What have you got?
My initial thoughts was a lean towards Arsenal because they're a bigger price, and I just think they're playing slightly better than Liverpool at the moment. Liverpool were good tonight and took their chances, where I don't think they've been that clinical in recent games. But then the Anfield factor has to be considered. They're still unbeaten there this season. The 0-0 at the weekend was the first time all season that they've not scored 2 goals or more at home. And it is a game I like for goals. So having went into it thinking I was going to find a way to back Arsenal, I've actually went the complete opposite way and looked at Liverpool. But Liverpool goals, I like Liverpool team total because it hits nearly every home game for them. Only once this season it hasn't. You're getting evens for Liverpool to score 2 or more. I think that's a good starting point for me. So my main pick here is Liverpool to score 2 or more goals at evens, plus 100. But I do fancy goals at both ends. The 2 games last season finished 2-2 at Anfield and 3-2 at Arsenal. Arsenal won that one 3-2. So plenty of goals last year. I think it'll be something similar this year. So a more ambitious one if anyone wants to take a bigger price. Both teams to score twice at 16 to 5 plus 320 is another one I like. So yeah, my main pick is Liverpool to score 2 or more, but chuck in Arsenal to score 2 or more as well and push that up to 3, just over 3 to 1, 16 to 5.
That seems like a really small price, Baz, for both teams to score 2 goals.
Yep.
Okay. Right, Baz. I am absolutely, completely on the other side of this, like totally at the other end of the spectrum. I've read this totally differently to you. Liverpool dropping points was coming. We kind of said it was coming. Although it was their first home drop points of the season. The supporters just weren't really having them, and I can understand why. Arsenal had a really good response to that defeat at Aston Villa with a win against Brighton. Their away form is good, but they have lost probably the nearest comparison games, Newcastle and Aston Villa. No real patterns in terms of recent sort of overs, unders, BTTS. at the prices, Baz, I just looked at comp games. The under 2.5, 11 to 10 plus 110. Liverpool Man United 0-0. Villa Arsenal 1-0. Newcastle Arsenal 1-0. City Liverpool 1-1. These big games, they're all going under. And when I found this, Baz, I was absolutely buzzing with it.
Liverpool and Newcastle ones, though, that's sorry, Villa and Newcastle. That's Villa and Newcastle getting a goal ahead and then trying to sit on what we've got for the rest of the game, isn't it?
Villa have scored.
Liverpool go 1-0 up against Arsenal.
Goals per game.
If Liverpool go 1-0 up against Arsenal, they're not just going to sit back and try and hold the 1-0. Villa did. You can't tell me Villa kept going hell for leather.
They didn't even get 1-0 up last week against Man United.
I'm just in a different game.
Half an hour ago, you told us their centre forward was complete shite and can't score.
Hopefully he doesn't start. Fucking shite.
Of course he does, man. Good player. Anyway, we'll find out. We'll be able to discuss this, and bragging rights will be issued. But yeah, under 2.5 goals, 11 to 10 plus 110. And I think, Baz, even though my notes are all over the place. Oh no, you see, we haven't finished it all. There's a game on Sunday. This is on the bottom of my second page of 3 notes, completely out of sequence. Christmas Eve, what a horrible time for a game of football, apart from if your DJ's like us, so we can sit in the chair and not have to move. Wolverhampton Wanderers take on Chelsea. Wolves 13-5 plus 260. The draw 11-4 plus 275. Chelsea are 19-20 minus 105. Guarantee, Baz, we've handicapped this in exactly the same way. Absolutely no chance. This is a frozen bank account type game. If you put money on Chelsea, you shouldn't be allowed money. Take it all, give it to somebody else. You just don't. It's not for you. Money's not for you if you want to back Chelsea in the sport. They're just shite. Like, they might win. Don't back them, though. Again, week after week after week after week, they're just underperforming, underwhelming, particularly dislikable as well, quite a lot of them. Wolves are a very capable side in spots. Beat Manchester City at home. Patchy form, absolutely patchy form. But every now and again, they'll throw one up. And God, Chelsea is so beatable, it's ridiculous. Massive price, this. Wolves 13-5 plus 260.
Yeah, I haven't gone with that.
You haven't backed Chelsea, though, have you?
No, I'm not.
Wolves team total, that your pick.
No, not that stupid. We both. I've gone completely differently. We both started to fancy Wolves a few weeks ago. They'd had a bit of bad luck with decisions in the Newcastle game, Sheff United, Fulham. They've been playing well and being really unlucky, but I don't think they've really backed it up since. They've had a win against Burnley in the last few games, but that's it. They were well beaten last week against West Ham. Absolute garbage. Chelsea don't impress me. How that team's had £1 billion spent on it in the last 18 months, I don't know. They do look toothless at times, despite lots of attacking intent. They need Nkunku. I think they're putting all their eggs into that basket, doing that. They need him to hit the ground running. He could make a big difference. He is quality.
Yeah. That's a good point, Baz. I forgot about him completely. He came off the bench last night for his first start in a year. So yeah, that is the hope that they have.
Yeah, definitely. And if he starts this weekend, I think that will be a massive boost for them. It's one of them. If he hits the ground running, he could be absolutely flying for the rest of the season. If he starts like Nicholas Jackson did, he could just go down the hill. Jackson's turned out to be an absolute nightmare. As I say, though, it's still difficult to back Chelsea with any confidence, particularly away from home. But I've gone for goals. 8 out of 10 Wolves games have gone over 2.5, and 8 out of 10 of them have gone both teams to score. And Chelsea have got just 1 clean sheet in the last 10 games in the league. Don't keep many clean sheets at all. That clean sheet was against Sheff United as well, where Sheff United were at rock bottom. So that was last week, Sheff United, sorry. So they had been on a 9-game streak of conceding in the league. So I'm just going to go for goals. I'm going to go over 4.5.
Ready?
Because I think Chelsea can definitely concede and Wolves can get in the mix. Over 2.5 goals. There's goals.
All right, you said 4.5, Baz.
Over 2.5. Sorry. I might have been looking at the price. The price is 4 to 5. Yeah, I'm not that ambitious.
That's gone wild then.
Not that ambitious. Yeah, Wolves, Chelsea over 2.5 goals at 4 to 5.
Just sit there and casually throw out it over 4.5 goal, but Billy Big Bollocks. Right, but definitely done. There is no football on Christmas Day. There's NFL on Christmas Day, Baz. I can't tell you how happy that makes me. I don't have to speak to the family past 6 p.m. on Christmas Day. So, fancy stuff, Barry. Dogs, hackers, goal scorers, all of that shite. What have you got?
Underdog. Start with the underdog. Arsenal to beat Liverpool at 9 to 5. I've taken Liverpool team total, but there's going to be goals galore. 3-2 Arsenal is the answer. 9 to 5, reasonable price. Scorer for me is going to be Kulusevski for Spurs. He's in good form. Sorry?
Fancy. I like it.
Fancy. He's in good form. Scored in 2 of the last 4 games. And he's 130 to score any time. 10 to 1 first goal. So Kulusevski at 130 to score any time. And 10 to 1 for first scorer. My treble, after a winning treble last week, Malcolm.
Oh, you won, yeah.
I hit my team total treble. So I will go back to the well again for another team total treble of Brighton, Spurs, and Fulham, each to score 2 or more goals. 5 to 1. I think that's an all right price this week. Brighton, Spurs, and Fulham, 3 teams that are always good for goals. Certainly Fulham more recently. So that's my team total treble. And I've got another one, Malcolm. Okay. We've talked a little bit about people being dislikable. Chelsea.
Okay.
Conor Gallagher was mentioned. Who else is dislikable? Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
So I've went for a little cards bet, Malcolm. A little dislikable players, cards, treble.
Players with horrible faces, cards bet.
Yes.
That's a jingle, isn't it?
I went for Conor Gallagher to get a yellow card.
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes to get a yellow card. And the final one is Ben White. He's had more cards than anyone for Arsenal, and I also don't like him. He's a bit of a weirdo, isn't he? I don't know why they put him in front of the cameras, because whenever he does, he's really arsey with the
who? Ben White.
He's really arsey. Just gives really abrupt one-word answers, and the Arsenal fans love it, saying, "Oh, isn't he dead funny?" And he's not. I don't know why they put him there. He doesn't want to be in front of the camera. Don't bother.
Handsome though, hasn't he?
Sorry? Oh, he's a handsome bastard. No doubt about that. But he is going to get booked this weekend. So I fancied a little cards bet. Ben White, Bruno Fernandes, Conor Gallagher, 44 to 1 for them all to pick up a yellow card. You could maybe stick them in a round robin, 2 doubles and a treble. One of the doubles will pay out at least 10 to 1. So yeah, something a little bit different, a little cards bet for this weekend as well.
Sky Bet gave me a little £2 bet builder free bet yesterday, Baz, on the Newcastle match. Caicedo to get booked, Bruno to get booked, Callum Wilson to score at any time, Newcastle to win, 66 to 1. Fucking hell. So not only did we get knocked out the cup, I got 132 free pounds whipped out my pocket by that horrible equaliser, so I wasn't thrilled about any of that. Underdog, I had 2 to choose from, Baz. I've got Bournemouth and I've got Wolves. Yeah, let's go with Wolves. I can't have Chelsea. I wouldn't mind doubling them 2 up, actually. Bournemouth and Wolves. But yeah, we'll take Wolves as the underdog. My anytime goal scorer.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, carry on.
What are you shaking your head at?
No, it's all right. Carry on. I'm looking at the wrong game.
Can't help that. My anytime goal scorer comes from the same game as yours, Barry. So we could both be in Clover here when Richarlison hits the back of the onion bag. Revenge game, Baz. I've gone for one for the Americans, the other revenge game. Richarlison revenge spot. 6 to 1 to score first and last. 15 to 8 plus 187 to score any time. He needs a new celebration, by the way. That celebration is dog shit. And my accumulator, which is an absolute waste of everybody's time. 1 out of 37, I think, something like that. 4 to 1 shot, Baz. I've kept it skinny so I can lose to the even shorter price this week. Both teams to score treble. Palace Brighton, Luton Newcastle, Tottenham Everton. Round about 4 to 1 for all of those 6 teams to get on the score sheet. And that, Barry, is all of those games handicapped? Anything else to tell the people?
No, I've got to now go out and go pick the missus up from the pub.
Good luck.
She's been begging for drinks during this. You know, the old Weatherspoons game where people tell you their table number and Weatherspoons, and you can go on the app and buy them a drink. And
oh yeah.
So I sent her and I made a picture of cocktail whilst we've been on here. I'm very nice. Very nice. Yeah, she sent a begging message saying, "Just so you know, I'm at table 22 in Weatherspoons." So I did get on there and sent them a drink. But now she needs picked up. She'll have had enough by this stage.
Yeah. Oh well, you go and sort that out then, Buzz. Right. Thank you very much. We're going to try and record on Christmas Eve, aren't we? We think.
Yes. Probably in the afternoon. We'll schedule it on YouTube. So have a look. Anyone who's on YouTube, remember to hit the thumbs up. Lots of people not doing that. And if you're not on YouTube, you should just subscribe anyway and get our YouTube numbers up, because that's good. Also write reviews and press buttons that say 5 stars, all of that sort of thing. But yeah, we'll do something Christmas Eve, ready for all of the Boxing Day action. Could possibly do it during the Wolves-Chelsea game and live the second half of that or something at the same time. So yeah, we'll have a think about that and we'll schedule it. But it's likely to be Christmas Eve afternoon.
Because there is another full programme between the 26th and the 28th of December. So, yeah, Christmas Eve's a good shout. Courtney saying Happy Christmas to everybody. Thank you very much, Courtney. Same to you. Lovely Christmas and all that. But, yeah, we will be back with Christmas Eve where we will be very festive, Baz. We'll Christmas jumpers, mince pies and that.
Oh, all of that.
All of that. It'll be... You should dress up as Santa. You've got this... Yeah. Don't take this the wrong way, Baz. You've got a silhouette. If you haven't you? You've got the silhouette nailed down, Baz. So there you go. Right. Cheers, everyone, for joining us. Make some winning picks between now and Christmas Eve, and then we can brag about them in a couple of days' time. Thanks, everyone. We will see you down the road. Cheers.